Time now for our daily Rising Crisis Update. We're going to bring you the latest in terms of the coronavirus. We'll start where we always do with the numbers. Now, these are updated numbers from over the weekend, so this is since last Thursday. That's why they jumped up a bit more than they normally do day to day. Overall, here in the U.S., we have nearly 1.5 million cases. That's an addition of almost 100,000 since Thursday. Deaths continue to climb. We're just about to 90,000 deaths now. Horrible benchmark there. An addition of 5,395 over the weekend, so since Thursday. Around the world, we're seeing 4.7 million cases, an addition of 400,000 since Thursday. 315,000 plus deaths. That's an addition of almost 18,000 since Thursday. So, headed to some ugly milestones here. 100,000, probably not that far away. Still continuing to climb, but there may be a little bit of hope on the horizon.
A little bit. So we got some news. This literally just broke this morning. This is from a biotech company called Moderna. So we've been very closely watched because it's launched early stage human trials for a coronavirus vaccine. This is amongst 45 participants, and each participant receiving doses in varying stages. Now, according to these new reports, they're saying that there's some positive data that's showing a, quote, robust immune response to the vaccine. This is from Scott Gottlieb. He's a former FDA commissioner under President Trump and has been a great voice on this. And he said the testing is a new 50, I think it's micrograms dosage. Of course, there needs to be regulatory, antibody, et cetera, and more. But shares of the company spike up 17% on the result of this news. But perhaps a piece of good news whenever it comes to all of this. But the very first human trials, obviously, 15 participants, that's not the whole population.
Right.
These things go through a year or more of testing before they're going to hit the mass market. But perhaps it is good news, along paired with the news about remdesivir, that those two things are exactly the type of conditions where consumers will feel safe.
Yeah, very, very early, but encouraging signs. And as you rightfully point out, even with that, it takes a long time before you can get there and have the doses available, have it fully tested and approved, and doses available for the public. But I'd like to keep you updated on those encouraging signs. Another interesting note this week as we think about how and when and where to begin to reopen the economy. Disney is partially beginning to reopen down in Florida. Their Disney Springs complex in particular, they are partially reopening. They're instituting, of course, lots and lots of safety precautions. You have to wear a face mask, temperature checks, various measures in place to ensure social distancing. They're saying that they're upping their amount of sanitizing, so they're cleaning things more to try to keep people safe. But this is one of the early sort of big iconic spots that is starting to look at reopening fully to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting story because this is what life is going to look like ultimately. And I kind of been saying it during these segments now for quite some time, which is that, look, the amusement park is still closed. The Disney Springs area of that, which is still a huge attraction, of course, is going to be open. They're saying there's still going to be some magic, maybe just to look a little bit different.
Yeah.
That is what life is going to look like in the interim of any sort of vaccine and all of that. With this, lots of distancing. It's going to be temperature checks everywhere. I think there were some gyms that were reopening in some different states. We're doing the same thing, checking people's temperature before they
transactions.
come in. Cashless transactions. So these are the types of things which we're going to see changes. And this is a small glimpse into what the larger kind of crowded entertainment life will look like in the future to come. And so this is what we want to stay very on top of. What are the places that are grappling with this reopening doing in order to try and stay safe? And if it doesn't work and it closes, I mean, that will be an even bigger problem.
Right. That'll be a big problem. The other thing that'll be interesting to see is if people actually go.
Yeah.
I mean, what we've seen so far in a lot of states that have started to reopen restaurants is people aren't really going, I think it's going to take a while, even with those additional precautions in place, because people are still looking at those numbers and saying, I don't feel safe yet. Like, this thing is still out there. It's still going around. So let me keep eating at home. Let me put off that vacation for a while. So that's the other piece of this to watch.
Yeah, OpenTable data, of course, the reservation management system, shows in a state like South Carolina, from a total lockdown was a 90% drop, or I guess it was a 100% drop in reservations. And now they're at about 65% to normal. But of course, here's the issue. Restaurants at 100 were already struggling. All restaurants do. It's one of the most low margin businesses.
Right. Very hard to
How are you
make
supposed to survive on a 65%? I just don't see it in the cards.
Yeah.
So
All right, we'll be back tomorrow with another crisis update. Please subscribe so you don't miss it, along with liking and sharing this video and others as well. Enjoy your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
See ya.